everybody, I'm Tiffany, and if you haven't guessed by my miscloak, I'm going to be doing another book review. So I had to put this on, and now I'm reviewing the third and final book in this first trilogy. The Hero of Ages. Let's go. Whoop, 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 whoop. Have my miscloak on. I'm Vin portraying-ish, and I'm ready to go. Well, if you have not read any of these fabulous books, which means these first two, I suggest you leave right now because, let's face it, it's hard to talk about a third book without really spoiling the second book. But of course, if you read the first book, you can watch my review on the second book, The Well of Ascension, and if you haven't read either of those, go read them, then come back and listen to my feels, and hopefully you'll feel the same with me. So I'll give you a little bit of a quick synopsis for it, for people who haven't read it at all, just to give you an idea, some statistics and stuff. The third book in the series is called The Hero of Ages, if I didn't show you the cover already, and it got a 4.44 on Goodreads, which means, guess what? It's a mind-boggling book. Like, whoa! It lives up to it. It lives up to it. It does live up to it. It was a great conclusion. I felt like it wrapped everything up nicely. It was a little bit bittersweet, but it was overall just a really fantastic book, and it kept me on the edge of my seat all the time. For those of you who want to know, I'd probably rate this, I'd probably go, 1, 2, 3. I don't know, I like the others a little bit better, but this was still amazing and spectacular. Read it. Read it. You need to. If you are a book lover and haven't read this series, read it. Okay, so for those of you who haven't read this at all, I suggest you leave now because I'm going to spoil the other ones. Thanks for joining me. Goodbye, non-spoilery people. Come back once you've read it, and then we can discuss. Alright, so bye, non-spoilery people. Bye! Alright, so The Hero of Ages overall was a really great book. It was a little bit more predictable, I'd say, than the other ones. Some of the things that might have seemed obvious to me weren't, because I'm really gullible, guys. Alright, so I was kind of proud of myself because I said in my other one, if you haven't watched it, for Well of Ascension, that with The Hero of Ages, I didn't really think there was one, or at least it won't be who we expect it to be. And I was really proud, guys, because, you know, at the beginning it seems like it's Vin, because of the little excerpts at the beginning of each chapter, which I thought is amazing, by the way, how he can incorporate that, and it gives you so much information that you might not necessarily get in the book, and it helps you really understand a bunch of the other cultures. But it's the Hero of Ages telling this, so part of you may think it's Vin because of the way it's describing it, but it doesn't write like Vin. And then finally it reveals, it says it at the end, and I was like, let's go. I called it wasn't Vin. I'm really happy that I knew that it wasn't probably going to be Vin, because that's the closest I ever come to theorizing something correctly, guys. I was just so amazed by how much, every little detail mattered in this thing. Like, the last book I saw that with was really like Harry Potter, where stuff from the previous books were really going to come into play, and you had no idea really that they were. For example, the earring that Vin has in her ear. I didn't think it was really going to become super duper important. I just thought it was a connection to her family, and it ended up being a huge thing, and how Ruin was controlling her. And when you're figuring it out, because you're learning about hemorrhaging, you're screaming at Vin to take that stupid earring off. It was bugging me so badly throughout this entire thing. And it ended up that Marsh had to be the one to take it out. So, good job, Marsh, on your part, even though you were, possessed by Ruin. But, that gave me, a heart attack. Because, ugh. And I thought it was just really cool, it was bad for Vin. How, her whole life, everything that happened to her, even as a little kid with her mother killing her sister, was all part of a plan. And it was so interesting just to think about that, because you don't think about it when you're reading the other books. Going into this book though, so I was really looking forward. I mentioned in the last one that I'm a really big fan of the character Ham in this book, because Ham is so lovable. And I didn't get enough Ham in this book. I wanted at least one little perspective, because everybody else got one. Marsh gets one. Breeze gets one, he got some in the previous book, Spook gets one, but Ham doesn't. I wanted Ham to have a perspective because everybody else got one and Ham deserved one. And I think it would have been so much fun. It would have been spectacular. Ah, I love him. I don't know why I love him so much. I just do. So, Ham, I wish there was more of him in this book. As I was reading this, when the first Spook chapter came up, I was a little apprehensive because it's Spook. He was kind of prominent in the first book, not really. He was just more comic relief to me. In the second book, he was barely there at all. Spook all of a sudden got a chapter and I was thrown. I was like, whoa, wait, what? Spook's getting a chapter? What? Really? I didn't think I was gonna like his chapters really that much. But no, I was wrong. I was so wrong. Like, Spook scared me to death, okay? With how many twists he threw at me. How many of you thought that when, Spook was almost, gonna die, he was like in the fire and Kelsier came back? How many of you like flipped out? I did so much. I was like, Kelsier's alive. Kelsier's alive. I was so excited. I didn't get how. I didn't care. I was like, Kelsier. I was just so excited because then he hears Kelsier again and I'm like, Kelsier. Oh my God, he must be here. And then ruined it for me. Spook's talking to Breeze and then he's like, I never liked him anyway. Like, Kelsier's voice says that. And I'm like, oh no. Oh no, that's what happens to Zane. No. You do not get to ruin Kelsier, okay? I love Kelsier. I was so sad he died in this first book. I wanted him back so badly. And Ruin had to ruin everything. He lived up to his name. But Spook just constantly scared me. The first chapter right before he sees Kelsier again, he almost dies. Like the guy stabs a sword through a person into Spook. No, Spook does not die right now. So I was like wondering, is Spook dead? I didn't really completely believe it, but I don't know with Brandon Sanderson, okay? I don't know with him. So I was panicking, and then again, with like, he's trying to save the city, and Spook runs into the fire, and I'm like, what are you doing? And he has no feelings because he's been using tin this entire time, but I thought he was dead. I was like, it's gonna wake up and Spook's gonna be dead. But he ended up being okay. And he ended up not being controlled by Ruin anymore. Which, I thought the tactic with the piece of metal was so clever. Because, like Spook, you forget that he has that little pewter piece of metal sticking in him and that he left it in there. Ruin's in his head, but does Spook have a spike? I'm like trying to think, how is Ruin doing this? And then I realized it when Spook realized it. And I thought that was just really cool because I wasn't expecting that. Also, we got Tensoon's perspective for the first time. And it was nice seeing Tensoon because he didn't know what happened. And again, I was a little apprehensive because The Conjure, there's a lot of more interesting stuff happening, I felt like. But I really did love learning about The Conjure and learning about that species. There's one little pet peeve, though, that I need to discuss. As Tensoon never got to meet up with Vin again. She needs to reunite with her puppy, okay? That needs to happen. We need to have a secret epilogue or something where they meet each other. And I thought the whole point was that he was going to Vin. It just had little moments within it that really made the entire thing. One of my favorite parts is at the ball because Ellen and Vin get to dance for the first time. It makes the ending even worse, my gosh. But they get to dance and Ellen pulls out a book and is like, It was just such a cute little interaction, and it's like, of course Ellen would do that. They're so perfect together. Go live happily ever after. Another moment for me that really shocked me, that made me like flip out, was with Ben in the storage cavern, and she's fighting this Mistborn, and you're wondering who in the world is this Mistborn, and then it's Rean. And I flipped because I thought it was him. I was like, Rean's alive? What? He scared me twice. He almost made me think two people from the dead were back. I freaked out. And I had to like take a pause and I was like, what the? what? And it was Ruin again. See the constant pattern here? He gets your hopes up so high and then crushes them immensely. Let's talk about the ending. So Vin becomes like Preservation, and I'm a little confused at first because she just had this awesome battle with the Inquisitors, kicking butt, and I'm like, Vin is absolutely amazing. So I just kind of thought she would stay that way because, oh my god, that action scene was absolutely thrilling and exciting, and I was like, go Vin! She becomes Preservation's like conscious mind, and she's not really a person anymore. But what about Ellen and everybody who's waiting for her? Everybody thinks that she's going to come down and be Mistborn-like and you know, she's a god now and she's fighting Ruin, and that was really weird to me at first. And I'm just feeling for like Ellen and Sazed, who's like saying she'll come. She's there. You just don't know it. And then we get to the battle with the Kolos. And I thought that was really cool with the mist sickness real quick, how like all the people who end up falling sick are actually people who have allomantic powers, are mistings. That was really cool, and like the last group of people were Atium. So that was awesome to me. Ellen, I'm not vocal with books, I internalize everything. I like gasped, and not out of complete like, I didn't see that coming. I did, but it's one thing expecting it and another thing actually reading it, because Ellen is stabbed. And so what usually happens is when one of them is stabbed, you're like, okay, they're going to heal themselves or something. And then Marsh cuts its head off, and I literally went like, I like sat there for a minute and took a breath. And I was like, no, Ellen's not dead. Vin ends up destroying Ruin, and she falls dead too. Well, that was heart-crushing. Thanks. It was really sad. It ended up being a really nice ending with how they pay homage to them and everything, but part of you expects them to still be alive after everything they've gone through. But overall, it was a really great book. Besides Tensu not meeting up, there are two other things that really bugged me. One was, it was all at the end. It wasn't like, the book itself was amazing. It was just like, one, did they say what happened to Marsh? Because I didn't think they did. I thought he ends up cutting off Ellen's head, and then I don't know what happened to him afterwards. Did he survive? Did Marsh survive, or did somebody kill him and I just missed it? People, help me out here. Help me out. And then the other thing that really bugs me is they mentioned 2 other medals that are out there, and they don't say what they are. And I'm like, what are these 2 other medals? People, I want to know what these 2 other medals are. What are they? What are they? They're not in the appendix. What are they? Are they going to play into the, following series? Because this series does it where it's like in a group of trilogies. So it's like, there's this trilogy, and then there's a new trilogy that has the same magic system, but it takes place in a different time. So I'm like, we better find out what these other 2 medals are. I'm going to be mad if we don't, because I need to get on the other books, but I have a bunch of other books to read. But still, like in the second book, in the appendix, they gave like a couple more that you find out at the beginning of this book what they are. They mention them in here. They don't mention the other 2 mysterious medals, and I want to know what they are. Brandon Sanderson, please tell me. Please tell me, okay? It's bugging me. It's bugging me. It's bugging me. That's basically all I have to say on this book. It was amazing. It made me feel sad, happy, amazing, spectacularness. And it was just so well crafted, and every little thing came into play from all the previous books. It was amazing. So I suggest if you ever do read this, I say read them back to back to back, because that gives you the best, overall view of them, and you see how they all connect. Kind of like Harry Potter. They all connect. Like stuff from the first book comes really into play in the 7th book and all that. So read them all together. It's one of my all-time favorites. For sure. For sure. Thank you for joining me today and putting on your mist cloak with me and living out Vin's last adventure. Go pick this up yourself and read it and love it and feel all my feels. Anyways, thanks for joining me today. If you have any more movie suggestions or book suggestions, put them in the comments below. I will write them down. I will get to them eventually. So, you know, don't be afraid. Give me some book suggestions. Give me some movie suggestions. It's a lot more fun when I know a bunch of books that are good and a lot of movies that I should watch. Thank you so much for watching this. Have an awesome, spectacular, amazing, awesome, magical day. And you rock. Go put on a Miss Cloak and be a Miss Boy now. All right. Bye!